What's up, guys? But of course, you're going to see some D.va or D.va gameplay here today. As a result of the recent patch, I think her character is made much more viable, much more. Well, it's a character. It's one of my favorite to choose, and I choose a lot. And I can definitely say I wouldn't have done that prior to this patch. That's a good thing going for her. Her boosters have always made her that sort of having that dual option of being both aggressive and passive. You can choose her in a more slow, controlled lane control or area control pace, as I'm sort of playing in this particular part here. But as you're going to see illustrated in the video as well, you can transition to a more fast paced and aggressive style using the boosters on a whim. That's the great news about her. You can transition between aggressive and passive basically whenever you want. You have to sort of use that at your discretion at the optimum time, depending, of course, on the map, the ebb and flow, the aggressiveness of the other characters, the character choices. You know, you have to make a judgment call as to whether you want to be aggressive or passive. In this particular case here, since we already have the objective lockdown, area control, lane control on a more passive style, I think would be a more beneficial aspect to the team instead of getting very aggressive. I don't want to, in this case, get overextended, get way too aggressive, and all of a sudden when I get killed, my teammates are down and the other team gets a nice push, as you see right as I say that. I can put together great commentaries and tutorials telling you exactly what to do for success, but being as a YouTuber, people hate when you sit still. I have developed a few weaknesses in my gameplay at times for getting a little bit too aggressive to try and get those highlights for y'all, so if I cut that out of my gameplay, I think you would see me improve substantially as well, so live and learn. I'm just getting a little bit too aggressive, as you can see here. I'm getting beaten down out of my mech, which isn't too good, because at this point here, her blaster's not too bad, but she's defenseless. She's a bit slow. You have to hop around, try and avoid attacks. The great news is, though, your ultimate to get back your character comes pretty quick. Even just if after a few seconds, I think it goes up a few percentages, and each hit and kill really improves. It's like 10 to 15% or something. Don't quote me on it, but it's the point I want you to digest here is that it goes much quicker. You're able to get your mech back pretty quick. And even there, a very aggressive Reinhardt, pretty good for D.va. He might be able to take you out, and look at that. He gets way too aggressive. I take out his back line, he gets way too aggressive, take him out, basically close to a team wipe, and that percentage of us holding the control point is going to increase quite a bit by the time they even try and get back on the objective. Not a smart move by them. My favorite thing to do, of course, well, I will go back to what I was saying, the aggressive versus passive. I was, I think, at some points getting a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too passive. Of course, her weapon isn't the best at range, so your DPS at range isn't good, but the other good news about it is they have to sort of move to get out of your line of fire to not take damage, and a lot of the time that flushes them into your teammates. I think I flushed a couple of them into our teammate Roadhog a few times, and he was able to capitalize and take them out. So sometimes it's not about getting the kill yourself, it's about pushing an area and lane control. And if I remember right, take a look at this clip here in the opening round. I don't know what was going on. Maybe they figured my weapon wasn't very damaging and they could just push through it. They thought incorrectly, because I just get right behind them and they don't do anything. Situational awareness, nowhere to be seen. Just taking them out at will. Look at this. Is just unacceptable, man, in an FPS game. Can't happen. But not that I care. Give me as many kills as I want. So you have to balance, of course, that aggressive versus... the great news is when you play aggressive, you have so many different ways to go aggressive with her. Her defense matrix now, which has been buffed through the roof, it lasts a while, it blocks just about everything. And the boosters, you can push in, attack, wait for your boosters to replenish, and then get back to safety again. And that's the best way to do it. But don't be afraid to use that defense matrix. Your meter in the center of your screen will tell you when it's being depleted or when it's not ready to go. So that's something to bear in mind. And the one thing too about her defense matrix is that it can block a whole bunch of enemy ultimates, like Whole Hog, Tactical Visor, Deadeye from McCree, Death Blossom from the Reaper, which Unfortunately, because I love playing as Reaper, I've run into a few different times where I pop it, and a couple of the opponents were behind a D.va at the time, and my Death Blossom did next to nothing. So that's, I guess, the unfortunate part. And of course, well, I get nothing there, but you want to time it so that I usually, it's sort of that judgment call of when you want to actually use it. Do you want them to be bunched up and get the nice highlight play of the game? Maybe save it for when they're all bunched up on an objective and you're one of the few opponents left to actually try and defend it? Or do you want to use it to try and get it back as quickly as possible and not hang on to it? Because you can get it back pretty quickly as long as you're outputting damage, and it's pretty easy to output damage. Like, look, I just used it and we're back up to almost 40% immediately. So I guess it's a judgment call of, do you want to save it for the appropriate moment and maybe save the team, as I have done in a couple of other gameplays, or do you want to use it as much as possible, always having that threat? That's up to you, I guess. That's your judgment call. This round wraps up here and that's a perfect way of, actually right there, being aggressive. If you, without the minimap, if you see a teammate or an enemy get behind enemy lines, don't let him linger. Try to take him out, or if you have Mike, call him out. Don't let him sneak up behind you. So that's it. One of my favorite characters to play, and play the game. Enjoy.